Hi, everyone. How is everyone doing this evening or during the day? I'm not sure which one. Anyway, my name is Amy Chadwick. I am a nurse by trade, but also have a background in health coaching. And I've been a personal trainer for the last, I don't know, about 8 years. So I have a multitude of different avenues to approach our topic tonight that I'm so excited to get to share with you. The topic today is going to be your health, your diet, supplements, and how those supplements and your diet can affect your digestion. So, why don't we get started? Sadly, the standard American diet or the SAD diet comprises of lots of fun and wonderful foods that make us happy right at the beginning or ingestion of them. But unfortunately, the end product can lead to some maladaptive things like lots of inflammation in our bodies, as well as disease processes that we don't even consider as we're ingesting that really good cookie or donut or hamburger. Um, a study actually discovered that the average American gets about 57 or 60% of their calories from foods that are ultra processed. And by this ultra processed, we can guess that this is not coming from the ground, or originally it came from the ground, but then after a multitude of different chemicals and maybe heating, cooling, now all of a sudden we have something like a potato chip. So it's not technically food anymore, but it's called a potato chip because it was derived from a potato. The average American also consumes around 17 teaspoons of added sugar every day. Um, and the most recent recommendations for sugar is that women only get 4 teaspoons and men only have 6 teaspoons of sugar each day. So, I mean, we're looking at, quadrupling basically the amount of sugar that we have. Let's look at our foundation. The average FDA recommendation nowadays is 5 servings of fruits and vegetables a day. And when they look at a serving, they really are looking at a half a cup of a fruit or vegetable. That's really not that much. Um, I feel like we can just do better than that. If you look at things like the autoimmune protocol, or different diets out there, such as paleo or vegan. I mean, we're pushing upwards of 9 to 10 servings of vegetables and fruits a day. And that's really the basis of getting a lot of our minerals and vitamins. In another study, just 1 in 10 adults met the federal fruit and vegetable guidelines. And so, I mean, when you're looking at 1 in 10, that's not very many. And I can think of myself when I have to go to the hospital and I see patients. Um, yeah, it's really hard to slam in, a nice big salad, or, I want to eat my roasted potato soup or my, carrot sticks. Those I can actually get in. But ultimately, those days it becomes really challenging to get those in. So I have to think ahead and I have to meal prep in order to do that. So, why do we want to eat more vegetables and fruits? I mean, what are some basic, simple principles around that? Well, eating them actually equals a healthier body. That means we get to do more of what we love and less pain and more comfort. So, here's a couple of things that you may not have known with a whole food diet. And again, whole food is. Um, Basically going off the principle that a food that comes from the earth that doesn't have a label, and something like chicken or beef or pork, that is still a whole food because technically it came from the earth and an animal, and it doesn't have a label of 500 different ingredients. So who knew that eating fresh fruits and veggies can help your eyesight? I mean, we always got told, eat your carrots, you can see better, but ultimately it has been proven that that can help us, especially as we age and those things start to degenerate. We need to support that. When you're eating a whole food diet, you're actually preventing constipation by giving it fiber and really getting that fiber in to push basically your trash through is helpful. With the Nurse Health Study 1 and 2, they found that women who ate more than 5.5 servings, so again, we're looking of upwards of 7 to 9, especially cruciferous, which is your broccoli, cabbage, Brussels sprouts, and yellow and orange vegetables, which are also good for your eyes. And antioxidants, which we find in a lot of our foods, especially in this study, it was cranberries, they can help halt the activity of bacteria because they raise the acidity. So again, eating those whole foods, you think they're just good for you, but ultimately, when you understand how they can help your body, it kind of gives you more of a buy-in of why you should do it each day. How do we do this? What is this, tips for healthy eating? Everyone says, oh, eat healthy, I mean, we are busy. I don't know about you guys, but it seems like it's just become even more crazy as of lately. So how do we get these, 5+ servings of fruit and vegetables a day? The first one is probably my favorite and the one I adhere to the most, which is meal prepping and menu planning. So my partner and I, we sit down and we go through, hey, what do we have in our fridge? What's in our garden? What's in our freezer? Let's try to create a meal. How many meals can we get out of this? And then on Sundays, we spend about 4 hours and we prep 3 different main dishes. And then we have a lot of little sides such as, cut up apples and berries and yogurts and those type of things. So we have a bunch of grab and goes, but we also have already prepped 3 meals that help us to get going so we can take that to work with us, or if we come home, there's something already created. A lot of the time, costs can be prohibitive, so using frozen or canned items can help minimize that. If you cook in bulk, so things like beans and rice, if you cook in bulk with those and use them for many different meals, it really cuts the cost down. We like to make smoothies and freeze them for later. You can do 2 or 3 at a time. If time is an issue, there are a lot of really new wonderful meals delivery services. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to say their names or not, but using a meal delivery service, especially if you have if you're a paleo or you're vegan, they actually nowadays will cater to those special requests. My heart patients have to eat low salt, so a lot of them cater to a low salt type of meal as well. And then, of course, internet has tons of stuff for Pinterest or recipes and that type of thing. So next, because the standard American diet, like we were talking about, does not get enough of our fruits and vegetables. This is actually a very hot topic, and I call it to supplement or not to supplement. It's a big debate in the medical field. And, people are kind of one side or the other on it. At this stage of the game, a lot of us are not eating those 5+ fruits and vegetables a day. So it might actually be a good idea to take some supplements. The standard American diet doesn't even have half of these things unless it's fortified with it. I know a lot of cereals fortify with B's and boy vitamins. And then sadly, our fruits and vegetables just are not as nutritious as they were before. In this one research article that I was looking at, unfortunately, with the elevated levels of carbon dioxide that we're experiencing now just from our environment, unfortunately, it lowers the mineral content in our plants. So even though we may be eating 5 or 6 fruits and vegetables a day, we're not getting the same kind of mineral content or vitamins that we were once upon a time. And this is a sad thing, just kind of seeing the degradation of our food. So we're going to just touch quickly upon a couple different diets who actually probably do need to supplement. And again, if you have a medical condition that has anything to do with absorption problems, that is something that you want to discuss with your providers for sure. Same thing if you have medical conditions where you have issues with calcium or vitamin D. Those are things absolutely to discuss with your providers. You may need supplements that are stronger than, over the counter. But a couple different diets that people are practicing right now, the vegan diet and the keto diet. So we'll take a look at each one of these. So for vegans, you're obviously not getting a lot of animal products, as in none. And with that comes a lack of B12. It also can come with a lack of vitamin D, as in dog. And especially in the Pacific Northwest, we need vitamin D. We don't get as much sun. We're not outdoors in tank tops and shorts, except for this summer. And then, if you're not eating eggs, if you're not eating seafood, you could miss out on alpha linoleic acid, which are long chain fatty acids. Again, these are really important as we look to brain health, as we look at nerve health. And so this is where actually New Earth does come in. A lot of vegans actually use algae to supplement their diets for these vitamins. And New Earth does a great job of packing their supplements full of these things. So this is where essentials or renew, those come in. The mind is great, or just the straight algae itself. So those that diet actually works very well with the New Earth supplements. Keto diet, that's another one. Obviously, we're looking at a very high fat diet. We are looking at very low fruits and vegetables because it has very low carbohydrate restrictions. So, I mean, some when you start the keto diet, you're looking at 20 grams of carbs or less. So even though you're eating lettuce, it still has carbohydrates in it. So you really have to be careful about how many carbs you get in, which equals less fruits and vegetables most of the time. Because of this is where you need things to break down high protein, high fat. And this is where digestive enzymes come into play and help actually break down your food so you can absorb it better. And you can actually get the nutrients out of the protein and fat that you're eating. Magnesium is another big one that you could be missing out on. And of course, fiber that we get from our fruits and vegetables. So again, if you are using some of the algae supplements, you can meet the requirements for this. And of course, you always get your ALA, and you can get your amino acid profiles out of this as well, especially for vegans who will need that more. And then, of course, using a whole food diet, if you are eating at least, I would say, 7 servings of fruits and vegetables a day, and you're trying to diversify those, so a lot of green, a lot of yellow, a lot of orange foods, then you might not need to supplement as much. Again, because our food just doesn't have as many minerals, and it isn't, kind of chock full of the nutrients. And something like, if you would like to have an adjunct of, I would say, especially in the Pacific Northwest, vitamin D, or again, the amino acids that you get from the algae, that would be a great idea. So when we put this together, so diet and supplementation together, what does this mean for our digestion and our gut? So when we're absorbing nutrients from our food, we get things called antioxidants. And those antioxidants decrease the free radicals, which will decrease your chance of things such as aging, which will decrease basically the breakdown of your cells faster. I mean, these are what free radicals are, is oxidative stress. So when you get the proper enzymes to digest your food and you're getting your nutrients in a line, you are actually helping your body to decrease cellular breakdown. When you're getting supplementation as well as diet, fiber is your best friend. Fiber helps to push waste out. It's kind of like the garbage man. It takes it out, as well as extra sugar and cholesterol. So that helps to keep our triglycerides down, and it also helps to keep our blood sugar more regulated. So we're not doing this and having our crashes. It helps to keep our brains a little more in tune, especially when your blood sugar is more regulated. When you're hydrated, that actually helps to aid in waste excretion. And people forget that eating things like cucumbers and melon and things like lettuce also help with hydration. It's not just what you drink, it can be in your food as well. And last but not least, of course, probiotics. In this day and age, it's so great to have our little bacteria friends helping our gut, get the correct bacteria into our system to help aid that digestion. When we have an imbalance of that bacteria or dysbiosis, what can happen is those bacteria actually create cravings and make you want to eat food that we shouldn't be eating. So correcting your diet and will help your digestion, as well as keep your bacteria happy and not let those bad bacteria in so that you're craving chocolate all the time. So again, another point of this, when you are happy, when you're content, when your gut has the right bacteria in it, you are creating a healthy digestive tract. It's interesting because your gut and brain talk. They have some of the same chemicals, such as serotonin. About 90% is actually kept in the gut. So when you have a happy gut, you actually have a happy mood and a happy brain. It's so intricate that just thinking about food can actually start your digestive process, while being upset, sad, or angry can slow that process down. Fear can ultra rev it up and speed it so that you actually can, lose what's in your gut very fast. So actually being in a content space really does help your digestion as well. As we know, stress nowadays, there's lots of it, is a killer for digestion. So I'm not sure if anybody's noticed, but if you've had an inordinate amount of stress lately, your stomach may be making some odd noises, you may be constipated, or you may have an increase of diarrhea. So things to help that obviously are just your meditation, walks in nature, really taking a second or two to do some deep breathing. And again, that all helps move things through your belly so you can absorb your nutrients better and be healthier all at once. So taking these factors and really applying them, so looking at the best food I can eat, how do I get less stressed, how can I digest better, do I need to supplement to offset some of those days that I may have been rushing around and eating a bunch of bars, and that's about it. So if you take the time to just sit and kind of process and realize some small changes that you can make, you'll really do your body well. And that's honestly, when I say the JERF, I'm sure people have heard of it, but Just Eat Real Food, there is a purpose to that. And it does not only affect your health and your body, but it can affect your mental health as well.